Hi, welcome back. Well, yesterday I demonstrated how we make our sausage, and if you watched the video, you saw that I bought quite a bit of pork shoulder. So I didn't want to make it all into sausage, so I'm making some, I ground it finer, as I mentioned, for meatballs. So I'm making our meatballs. These are, as I call them in the book, Polpette Verbicarese. These are really my mom's recipe, but it's the way they were made in the old days. You'll see it. It's probably the simplest recipes you've ever seen. With meatball, they're made with 100% pork, no beef, no veal, no nothing. Because in my grandparents' days, and even my mom, when we would kill the butcher the whole hog, is pretty much the time when they would make them, because they would have some fresh meat, and all they had was pork, of course. So this is as authentic as it gets. It's the way they made it, but I wanted to keep the traditional recipe. So that's the recipes that I have in the book. It's in my Calabria. It's very simple. I think if you can focus on it, they can get the recipe, but I'll talk about it. So the recipe, I'm doing twice as much, okay? So I'm doing 3 pounds today. So I have 3 pounds of ground pork. I have 2 eggs. I have parsley, they're just chopped, and I use pecorino cheese and breadcrumbs. Now, when I wrote the book, I wrote it with dried breadcrumbs. These are unflavored Italian breadcrumbs, which you can buy, because the editor wanted to make sure it was something people had access to it. But my grandmother always used to do it what I call fresh breadcrumbs, okay? Meaning this is bread that it's a couple of days old, and she would actually grate it on a cheese grater, the same cheese grater that we use to grate our pecorino cheese. So they would come out beautifully, and because the bread after 3-4 days, it was pretty stiff that you could grate it. What I do now is, this is also my bread, because I make my own bread. I just cut it in cubes and I put it in a blender. I get finer, more, I would say, nice even breadcrumbs by putting it in a blender versus a food processor. So you can use a food processor, but the food processor tends to shred them a little bit more. So that will work too. So the recipe is with 3/4 cup of dried Italian breadcrumbs. But as I said, if you make your own breadcrumbs, go ahead and use that. And water. So this is a very simple, frugal recipe. I know there are a lot of recipes that they will soak the breadcrumbs in milk, and you can do that also, but we're going to do it the traditional way, just with water. And then there's a little bit of salt and some black pepper. So I'm just going to go get in here just like I did with the sausage, with my hands. I'm going to put in the breadcrumbs, okay, the parsley, everything goes in at once, and the cheese, and I just need a crack in here. I'm gonna put the eggs, oops, and just put it in here for now. And I did forget, I need to wash my hands. You can focus on that. I did forget to get a fork, and I also need to get some water. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a fork, and I'm just gonna get the water. Okay, I'm just gonna do these a little bit. Okay, it all goes in. I'm just gonna start mixing. You can see there is no garlic, okay? So no garlic, no onions, nothing. As I said, very, very simple, but there is a lot of parsley and pecorino cheese, and then we'll put some black pepper. Okay, so I'm just gonna put in the water also and work that in. So I'm just going to knead this really well. Until it's pretty even. And I did forget the black pepper, so I'm going to put a nice, quite a bit actually. I do like black pepper and or meatballs. And I think I did forget to tell you how much water. So it's 1/3 of a cup per 1.5 pounds. So I did twice as much. Okay, so I'm just going to mix the black pepper in, and then I'm going to go ahead and show you how I shape it. Okay, so what you can do to make it easier is, get your hands wet, okay? I usually do it with water, but, if you want it even oil, you could use, you could put your hands with oil. And I make these fairly small. They're not huge. This is typically the way we would make it in town. Okay, you just kind of go around, see what I'm doing, and you get a perfectly round meatball, okay? So these are about 1 inch. You can see I'm very picky. I don't leave them rough, like let's say that, okay? I wouldn't pass quality control. So
especially your mom's.
Yes, when I teach my students, I always say, no, just keep on doing this, okay, until they look nice and smooth. So you can see you get a really nice smooth meat. I'm actually grown in size. We also make these super, super tiny. I just want to show you in case you do make the sagnecchine, which is the Calabrian lasagna, or if you do a pasta, also baked, we make them this tiny, okay? They're marble size, okay? So these are the 2 size that I would make them. These would be, again, simmered, both of them get simmered in tomato sauce, but these will be served with pasta, especially the baked pasta. In Calabria we do that. So I'm just going to continue shaping these. I have quite a few to do, and then I will bake them, and I'll tell you what we'll do next. Yeah. Okay, I'm done shaping. You can see I made quite a few. So they're 1.5 inches. I said 1 inch, but they end up as 1 inch when they're fully cooked, because you'll see they'll shrink. So these I'm going to bake them, okay? And then I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I decided to make some of the tiny one because I want to make sagnecchine, which is the Calabrian lasagna. The recipe is in the book, and I haven't made it in a long time. And I know it's a lot of work, but it's I have to do it because it's been over a year. So these I'm just going to fry them. So I'll show you how I fry them, and these I'm going to put them in the oven so you get to see them, what they look like when they come out of the oven. Okay, so these are going at 400 for about 20-25 minutes. We'll look at it. And these I'm going to go ahead and fry it. So, see if the oil is ready. Let's see, one way you can tell, you can of course always put a thermometer, or you can put one of the spoons and see if you can get close to it. See how it starts. Let's see, I'll do it again. It'll start sizzling. See how it's sizzling, it's starting to, okay? So, and we can put one in and see how quickly it goes, okay? So it needs a little bit more, okay? So about 1/2 inch of oil. This is one of the reasons, as I said, I don't want to fry a lot of those eggplants because it does take a lot of oil, but I'm not going to throw this oil away, okay, because you can use it for the tomato sauce. So definitely I will keep this one. It is olive oil. I do fry with oil. Now I am okay putting in things directly with my hands, but if you're not comfortable, this is what you can do. You can just put them on your slotted spoon and then just put them in like that, okay? So I'm just gonna go in one layer, okay? I'm just gonna quickly, these are gonna go really quick because they're tiny. I just want them to get, you know, sort of a little bit of color, because then they're gonna cook in the tomato sauce when I'll make it. So if you want to make it, I think I'm going to do it for Sunday. As I said, the Calabrian lasagna, lasagna or pasta china if you do it with pasta. Okay, so you can see, I don't know if you can come over, but I actually could have done even less oil because these are really small, but typically I put 1/2 inch for the larger size. Okay. Okay, so see, these are done. See that? And I'm just gonna pick them out, do the oil behind, and then I'll just do the next batch. So this is the same way you would do the larger size. Okay, same technique. As I said, for these tiny ones, I could have put a lot less oil, but for the larger one, I put about 1/2 inch, so it sort of, you know, covers it halfway, and then I turn them. These you don't even have to turn them. And these are done, and I'm just going to finish frying the rest of them. Hey, stop stealing them. Okay. Okay. It's only been 15 minutes, okay, but your oven might take longer, okay. You can see they're actually really nicely browned, so I'm not going to cook them any longer, but you can see this is what they look like when you bake them. I didn't put any oil at all. So they look really nice, okay? Or you can fry them. These are the tiny ones that I fried. You can see what they look like. So these I'm just going to simmer some in tomato sauce, and the rest of them I'm going to let them cool and freeze them. So I just freeze them in a container or in a Ziploc, and whenever you need a quick meal, if you have some tomato sauce, you just put them in the tomato sauce, 15-20 minutes, you're done. So I hope you try them. It's really simple recipes, and maybe Sundays, I said maybe you can join me. I will make lasagna. I didn't make tons of these, but I think for I can make enough for 4 people because I needed 240 of them is what the recipe requires for a 12-inch, but I'm going to make a smaller one, but I'll try to do it on Sunday. So I hope I'll see you again. Bye.